Sir Rod Stewart's story has always been about motion. Loud, restless, and unstoppable. From working-class London beginnings to global superstardom, he built a career defined by reinvention, swagger, and survival. Now at 81, the motion has changed. It is no longer about rising faster or louder, but about continuing at all. Recent appearances, health interruptions, and emotional performances have turned public attention toward a quieter question. What does it mean when a legend doesn't fall, but simply slows down? Not defeat, not collapse, just time doing what time does. And for someone who built identity through performance, slowing down carries its own kind of weight. The legend beginning to slow. There is something unsettling about watching an icon age in real time. Rod Stewart is not disappearing from the stage, but the rhythm has changed. Illness-related cancellations and reports of exhaustion in 2025 painted a picture of a man still willing, still driven, but increasingly checked by the limits of the body. The audience still sees the voice, the presence, the charisma. What is harder to ignore is the pause between moments, the recovery between shows. He continues to perform, but not with the same limitless physical certainty that once defined decades of touring life across continents and generations. A lifetime achievement under bright lights. In May 2025, Rod Stewart appeared at the American Music Awards for a deeply personal moment. Surrounded by his children, he received a Lifetime Achievement Award and performed Forever Young. The performance carried more emotional weight than spectacle. This was not the flamboyant frontman of earlier decades, but an aging artist reflecting on the arc of his own life in real time. The audience applauded, as expected, but the significance was quieter. It was a reminder that legacy is no longer a future concept for him. It is present tense, unfolding on stage while he is still performing it. The weight of continuing to perform. Even after such honors, Stewart continued to tour, only for illness and exhaustion to force cancellation shortly after. His response, describing himself as devastated, revealed more than disappointment. It suggested identity tied directly to performance. For many artists, the stage is not just a workplace, but a psychological anchor. When it is taken away, even temporarily, something fundamental shifts. At this stage of life, every missed performance is not just a scheduling change. It feels like a disruption of self. Continuing becomes less about ambition and more about maintaining the shape of a life built in public view. The rise of a working-class star born in 1945 in Highgate, London, Rod Stewart's early life was far from glamorous. Football was his first passion, not music, and his ambitions initially leaned towards sport rather than fame. His voice, raspy, imperfect, unmistakable, became his signature before he ever learned how far it would take him. By the late 1960s and early 1970s, he was rising through bands like Faces before exploding as a solo artist. Maggie May transformed him overnight into a global figure. What made it striking was its accidental nature. It wasn't meant to dominate the charts, yet it defined an era. Fame that arrived without warning. When Maggie May reached #1 in both the UK and the United States, Stewart's life changed instantly. At 26, he went from working musician to global name. Fame did not develop gradually. It arrived like a flood. With it came arenas, media attention, and the collapse of normal boundaries. The Faces began to fracture under the weight of individual success, and Stewart's solo identity became dominant. What followed was not just popularity, but visibility at a level where private life became public currency, and every decision carried cultural commentary alongside personal consequence, reinvention, and controversy. As musical trends shifted, Stewart shifted with them. Punk challenged glam rock, and disco challenged rock purism. Instead of resisting change, he adapted. Songs like "Da Ya Think I'm Sexy" divided critics and fans, cementing his reputation as both survivor and provocateur. Some saw reinvention as brilliance, others saw compromise. But adaptability became his defining trait. Rather than fade, he evolved, sometimes comfortably, sometimes controversially. Each reinvention preserved relevance but also layered identity, creating a career made of multiple versions of the same artist, each reflecting a different cultural moment in music history. The cost of global stardom. Through the 1980s and beyond, Stewart's success expanded into stadium-level tours and international fame. With it came distance, physically from home and emotionally from stability. Relationships played out in tabloids, privacy became scarce, and trust became selective. Moving between countries, particularly his relocation to the United States, added another layer of separation from his origins. Fame at that scale creates a strange isolation, surrounded by people, yet constantly observed rather than known. Over time, the identity of Rod Stewart became both a public brand and a private burden to carry continuously. Illness, survival, and endurance, health challenges, including thyroid cancer in 2000 and prostate cancer later revealed publicly in 2019, added a new dimension to his story. These were not just medical events, but turning points that reframed vulnerability. He continued performing, but with awareness that the voice and body that built his career were not permanent assets. Survival became part of his narrative alongside success. Rather than retreat, he used his experience to encourage awareness and early detection in others. Still, survival does not erase strain. It simply allows continuation under different, more fragile conditions than before. Identity tied to the stage. At this stage of life, the central tension is not fame or criticism, but identity itself. Stewart has spent over 6 decades performing, and the stage has become more than a profession. It is structure, rhythm, and purpose. Retirement, for many artists, represents rest. For performers like him, it can feel like erasure. Momentum has defined his existence: tours, albums, appearances, repeat. Without it, the question becomes not what he does, but who he is. And that uncertainty is often more difficult than physical aging, because it removes the role that defined the self. Conclusion. Rod Stewart's story is not one of decline in the dramatic sense, but of continuity under pressure. He has achieved nearly every milestone a musician can reach, yet still returns to the stage because identity and performance are deeply intertwined. Aging has not removed him from music. It has changed the terms under which he engages with it. The applause is still there, but so is time, steady, indifferent, and unavoidable. His legacy is already secure, but his present remains active, complex, and human. In the end, the quiet truth is simple. Even legends do not outrun time. They learn to move